Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. We're going to talk about the Canary Islands and the volcano that just went off and the earthquakes. So I'm sure everyone here knows that on September 11th, a swarm of earthquakes started. Interesting that it was September 11th. And, you know, I've talked about dates and cycles, right? And we just talked about the Richard Nixon moment 50 years ago happening, gold being taken off, the gold window shutting, right? We talked about the Saudi Arabia and Russia deal where Saudi Arabia just signed a historic agreement with Russia for military training, equipment, and protection, right? And guess what? That was 50 years ago. Well, guess what just happened? A volcano erupted in the Canary Islands. Yes, that's right, 50 years ago. You can't step away from these cycles and start to see and deny the power of cycles. You ever heard, there's nothing new under the sun? You've probably heard that phrase, right? You also probably heard, you know, those that do not understand history are doomed to repeat it. Well, it is absolutely true. There's nothing new. Some people like to go, hey, I'm gonna make some fancy quote and go, you know, history doesn't always repeat, but it oftentimes rhymes. Yeah, copy. Okay, that's just because it's a different mental attitude. But guess what? Same thing. Same thing. Doesn't matter. The sun, the moon, the stars are always coming over top. Everything's the same. Everything's a cycle. Once you start to realize that and you understand it, your whole world opens up to you. So now back to Canary Islands. This is very serious. I'm not saying that there's going to be, you know, for decades, scientists have been saying that there's this piece of Earth that has the ability during this fault, a big earthquake, to slip off into the ocean and cause a tidal wave that will hit the east coast of the United States and absolutely devastate it, right? We've all known about this. And the thing is that there is a time when that is going to happen. It is an absolute certainty. Someday. It could be 100 years from now. It could be 1,000 years from now. It could be tomorrow, right? Absolute certainty that is going to happen, right? The thing is that very few people are prepared for those kind of things. Very few people, and we're gonna talk about one specific thing, but very few people have a generator, you know, in their home on the East Coast, right? It's like I live in, what is it? I literally live like, what is it? The way the bird flies, 15 miles away from the earthquake capital on Earth, right? Parkfield, California. And I understand how important it is to be prepared, right? We've went through some big earthquakes here. We went through an earthquake where we had a couple of fatalities back in the early 2000s, and it was absolutely horrible. I was actually there when it happened, and it was just absolutely devastating. Just took out our town and crumbled tons of buildings, right? Power's out for a long time. Water was out. And very few people have a generator. Very few people have some food. But one thing that's really important is water. Very few people have a way of getting clean water. And I've told you guys before, I did that video on that water filter that's just a gravity feed that we got, you know, to get ready for harder times, not only catastrophic times, but let's say economic collapse too, because clean water is going to get very expensive, right? And I started using this thing and we did all the research on it, and I'll put a link in the comment section below to the company. We absolutely fell in love with this. It is absolutely insane how good the water tastes. It takes out all the, it's like 99.9% of the fluoride, which very few water filters do that too. But it takes out biological agents and diseases. And there's all these insane research reports from this company that went out and said, we're gonna build the best filter on Earth. And so take a look at that. There's very few people, like right now, we've seen multiple hurricanes roll through and stuff. And what happens is when these floods happen and they overwhelm the sewer system, then the sewer system comes up and out. And then that system that's usually contained in pipes, it's flooding everywhere. And all this toxic waste is just disgusting stuff is everywhere. And then it settles back onto the ground and goes into the grounds, into your groundwater. So now you've got things in your groundwater for the next, you know, X amount of months that are completely toxic. And then what's crazy, and I don't want to cause fear, right? There's never fear when you're prepared. There isn't. Knowledge destroys fear, okay? Preparation, the amount that you're prepared, is the longer you can go and thrive, because while everyone else is freaking out, not only are you able to help them, which, right? I mean, you could give them filtered water, but then you're able to actually also, you know, take advantage of the situation, and you know, people that weren't prepared and they've got to sell off their stuff, you know, hey, I'll buy it. I'll be the buyer for it. I've got money. You need money. Cool. That's just how life works. That's how wealthy people became wealthy. They were prepared for things. So my thing is just like right now, I'm not saying this is gonna happen tomorrow, but 50 years ago was the last time that volcano erupted, all right? The world is telling you, the earth is telling you something. Political events are telling you something. We are in a massive cycle right now. And that last cycle in 71 led us to some very, very hard times in the late 70s. But the thing is this time, I don't think it's gonna take 7 years to get there, or it's not gonna take 8 years like it did from the Depression of 1920 till the Great Depression. I think this is so big of an issue that the time is gonna be collapsed till the big collapse. And so I hope you guys got something out of this. If you did, please, throw a thumbs up in the section below. If you don't, just hammer that thumbs down button like 16 times. 16 times, I definitely know you're ticked off. All right, guys, that being said, I thank you so much. It's getting loud out here. The Economic Ninja is out.